Is there anything about him? Well, we're really short, so any bite we can take. No, I'd rather not.
All right. All right, everybody, welcome in. It is time for the Blues to chase another cup, and we're going to be right along with them the whole way. I'm Corey Miller here with Frank Cusimano. We're going to be doing these Chasing the Cup updates throughout the playoff run. Game 2 tonight. We're recording this on Wednesday in Minnesota. We got to start off talking about the man, Ville Husso, who was just superb in that first game, and he kind of had to be. The Blues defense didn't help him out a whole lot from what I was watching.
Yeah, I think that Colton Parayko was not at his best, and I also think that you got to remember the Wild hit 4 post. So post can go in. We got a 4-4 game. Bottom line is he's really good. He's been great all season long. He kind of slows down the moment. I don't know when he's more chill, while he's actually between the pipes or after a game when he's got the microphone on him. He's similar to Jordan Binnington in that aspect. He's a little different than Binnington in terms of not getting as emotional during the game. And I don't say that as a derogatory thing towards Binnington, because that's what made him great too.
Does it feel quite like deja vu yet? I mean, we got to go a little bit longer, but unknown kind of, well, not unknown to us, but a guy who they weren't counting on, coming out of nowhere, strong start.
Yeah, 0 career playoff wins as opposed to 90 for Marc-Andre Fleury.
First Blues goalie to have a shutout in his playoff debut as well. I'm glad they were able to finish that off and not give up a cheap one at the end. You could tell they were still playing hard even though the game was in hand. Speaking of being in hand, the Blues have the home ice now. It flips for the rest of the 6 games if it goes that long of this series since they won Game 1. We all made a big deal of that coming down the stretch, but the Blues on the road, we were pretty confident in them. That home ice didn't mean that much for the Wild to open things up.
Yeah, their road power play is #1 in the NHL. And you look at the analytics over the last few years in the NHL, the home ice advantage means very little. However, if you are Minnesota and you lose again to the Blues and you're down 2-0 going back to St. Louis, and then you'd be 15-1-2 lifetime against Craig Berube, you have to be thinking, how are we ever going to beat a Craig Berube coach team, especially in St. Louis?
Feels like a must-win in Game 2 for the Wild for sure. Let's talk about David Perron, because other than Husso, he was the guy who had the biggest game in Game 1. There's only one place he's ever signed to play, here in St. Louis. 3 different times, 3 different stints now. He's had a really weird career, and I think when we look back after it's all said and done, we're going to say he's had one of the best Blues careers we've ever seen.
I can remember distinctly the 3rd time. We were at the Mills. The Blues signed him. It was the opening of free agency, and I tweeted it out. The Blues just signed David Perron, and the response was so overwhelmingly negative, like, him again? But this is the best version of the 3 versions we've had of David Perron. Rick Zombo was with us on the radio the other day, and he said, look, the guy has one of the most accurate shots and some of the best hands in the league. It's not surprising. And then you pair him with Ryan O'Reilly, and that's why you get magic.
His aggressiveness gets him in trouble a little bit on some of those penalties, but if that's the trade-off you have to have if he's going to score 3 goals, I think he'll take it.
Absolutely.
Moving on, you mentioned the special teams. The Blues are monsters on special teams. They had the 2nd best power play in the league during the regular season. They scored 2 power play goals in that first game, almost had 3. It was a couple seconds after, so it didn't technically count. And their penalty kill held the Wild to no goals in 6 attempts. Those special teams are going to be huge.
Yeah, I don't think they can get in the penalty box 6 times in Game 2 and expect to win or expect to keep Minnesota off the scoreboard. But the power play is absolutely crazy, and you don't even know which is your best power play. I mean, you knew what your best line was going into this, with Tarasenko and with Thomas and with Buchnevich, but then all of a sudden the Perron and O'Reilly, and then you had that other line, Brayden Schenn, who, in terms of goals and games, goals per games, he's probably the best on the team this year. So, yeah, they've been, I pick your poison. What Blues power play do you want to see? Answer, none.
I think that's why you feel so good, and we talked about this coming in. To stop the Blues, you don't just have to stop one guy. You have to stop like 10 different guys because, okay, one guy's off, there's 5 more that can step in and take his place.
The 19 team did not have as many weapons. Now, granted,
Ryan O'Reilly even
Pietrangelo.
Ryan O'Reilly even told you that.
That's right.
Moving on, all eyes on the Blues. Huge rating in that first game. We made a lot about the 8:30 start time. Nobody likes it. Everybody liked to not stay up that late. But apparently it doesn't matter that much because, what did they have? About 200,000 viewers, up from about 50,000 viewers for a regular season game. When the Blues are in the playoffs, that's what matters.
Yeah, and I think, even though it was a long time ago, 3 years ago, the legs of 2019, we all witnessed firsthand just how cool this is. And then we see this team get a point in 16 consecutive games. Everybody's got this vibe. Hey, we won it a few years ago. Why not now? And everybody's going to be watching.
Yeah. Let's hit a few wild points here before we duck out of this Chasing the Cup episode. That play from Wild captain Jared Spurgeon, who's nominated for the Lady Byng Trophy as one of the most gentlemanly, sportsmanlike players in the league, on Pavel Buchnevich. They called it a cross-check. I guess you could call it that. Whatever it was dirty on his Achilles lower leg. Only got a $5,000 fine. I thought for sure he was going to be suspended.
Well, it's interesting because if he didn't have this spotless reputation and nominated for the Lady Byng, he probably would have got a game.
Yeah.
And in contrast, as we move into the NBA, Draymond Green got a flagrant 2, which probably could have been a flagrant 1, but because of his reputation, sometimes when they hand these things down, they don't think about the moment. They think about the career of the guy and what he's all about.
Well, if you look at just the moment, it was definitely worth more than $5,000. I'll tell you, that could have knocked Buchnevich out for the rest of the playoffs.
Right.
Then we'd be really talking about something. One more wild point here. Sticking with Marc-Andre Fleury for Game 2, they've announced they have a good backup in Cam Talbot. What do you think the chances are if Fleury has another bad night that they make a move?
Oh, there's no question. Yeah, if he's bad tonight, they'll make a move. It's so tough for Coach Evison with the Wild to make this decision because Talbot has been the better goaltender for the most part this season. He's had a better season. But if I got a guy with 3 Stanley Cup rings who's played in 5 Stanley Cup finals, how do you say you sit and the other guy plays? So that's a tough call for him. But believe me, if he doesn't play well tonight, he's not playing in St. Louis Friday.
Yeah. Last thing, we didn't do one of these before the series, so you get the benefit of seeing one game. How long do you think this one goes, and who do you think comes home with it?
I say Blues in 6.
6, I think, is pretty good. I think that you stole my thunder. That's
That's
what I was going to say.
I saw
too.
your notes.
Glad we're on the same page there. All right, that'll do it for Chasing the Cup for our Game 2 preview of Blues and Wild. Hopefully we'll be with you for a long time as the Blues make another run towards another Stanley Cup. Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Mike's on.
Hold on a second.